couple of months ago, Governor Mark Dayton publicly acknowledged Senator Gen Olson for her work in improving early childhood literacy. Here to talk about that and more broadly about the state's K-12 education system, we have the chair of the Senate K-12 Education Committee. Thanks for joining us, Senator Olson.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's great as always to have you, and I want to begin with your work, your drive for early literacy. What role do you think early literacy for children has in improving the achievement gap?
Well, the key is reading proficiency by third grade. So I encompass wherever you want to start it to at least being able to achieve proficiency by third grade. And we know from research that virtually all children can reach that achievement. I think we've dismissed some children by categories, whether it's their cultural heritage or their family structure or their economic status, socioeconomic status, as possibly not being able to learn. It just isn't so. We're suffering from the discrimination of low expectations. And so this is a very important area. If you think through, as I do, you wonder why we're dealing with some of the challenges we have in terms of college and career ready, the dropout rate. Well, 40% of our young people that go on to college have to take remediation in reading and math. You know, the two basic core areas. And so I think we should be paying very close attention to what works, research-based methods, and assuring that our teachers are equipped with the tools so that all children can reach that proficiency and then be able to go on learning the myriad of things that are challenging us today in terms of being able to function in today's society.
You mentioned the word expectations a bit earlier. Recently, Education Week magazine gave Minnesota's K-12 educational system a C grade. Do you think that the legislature has begun to turn the ship around, or are we still sailing in rough waters? What are your expectations?
Well, I don't think we've done enough to face some of those realities because as much as we like to complain about No Child Left Behind, it did expose the achievement gap that we have between some of our minority categories as well as the majority categories of students. And we haven't moved that needle. And so if it's a matter of expectations, and I think that is certainly key because we have evidence of schools that have the same makeup as others and are getting all their students to that point of proficiency.
A member of your education committee said that early childhood is best aided through parent involvement and the state isn't helpful. Do you think the state can be helpful?
Well, I think many of us who have been working with early childhood education believe that the parent is key and the parent should have choice. And what I am concerned about is that we not attempt to add a kind of a universal system and enlarge our current educational system to go down and capture several more years. When we can prove we can do it right in the K-12, that might be worthy of consideration. But I don't think we should be looking at early childhood as the magic bullet, that if we somehow bring that in and follow some of the same strategies that we have been, that's somehow going to turn things around.
What about all-day kindergarten?
Well, all-day kindergarten has not been proven to be essential to making those changes. Even Art Rolnick has said that it's better to invest in some of the at-risk children at age 3 and 4 than it is to provide all-day kindergarten. Many of our schools have already done it or have made choices where parents can choose electively to have their children in an all-day kindergarten program.
So let's look ahead now. What's at the top of your list this coming session when it comes to improving Minnesota's K-12 educational system?
Well, I still want to keep our focus and that we not lose sight of the approaches that we have taken to achieving that reading proficiency. We did 3 things that I was very grateful that the governor seemed to agree with and put our whole package into the final bill. And that one was that we provide an incentive to schools. It's the first time, I think, in the country that there's a revenue stream that will reward schools for the percentage of children that are at proficiency by third grade. Half of the calculation is on that basis, and the other half is growth toward that end. So those that are way behind aren't just not going to get anything, but they're rewarded for their growth. And hopefully, I mean, that now amounts to like $85 per pupil, and hopefully that can grow, and that school districts will see that that's a way to add resources by achieving well. The second key one is building on what has proven to be working, and that is the Minnesota Reading Corps. That has kind of come out of the private sector, but it has been built on scientific research-based methods of teaching reading, and very carefully trained instructors or tutors that are in the classroom, and it has been proving very effective. And it is functioning at both the early childhood and kindergarten level, as well as in the K through 3 level. But its aim is reading proficiency by 3rd grade. And it is using some methods that I think are kind of at the heart of the problem, is that some of our academic institutions in teacher preparation don't look with favor on methods that involve what they call drill and kill. You know, drill and practice of, you know, actually learning or memorizing certain elements of what sounds and combinations of letter sounds are. But you need those in your head so that whenever you see them, you can apply them, and without even having to think about it, and can be working then on building your fluency and your vocabulary and comprehension. And so this year it was phenomenal at the convention center to have 1,200 people in the room. About almost 800 of them were new tutors going into the classroom. That's up from about 300. And there are about 350 coaches that the schools provide. And that I took the coach training so that I understand exactly everything is very, very well laid out and solidly research-based. And now in our bill, we tripled the amount of money going forward for the next 2 years. So the numbers I'm telling you about are this year. They haven't, the impact of what our investment is not yet felt. And then we did one more piece, and that is our local districts developing a local plan of assessing where their children are, communicating with parents so they understand that, having instructional plan for how to turn things around, provide for staff development, and develop the local plan. It doesn't have to be turned into the state, but if they put that in place, it should help them not only utilize the Reading Corps, which is not being forced on them. They only go if they're invited into a school. And that's, the word is getting around, and so I think that's going to continue to multiply.
So, Senators, I'm sorry to cut you off. We're almost out of time, so I wanted to ask you real quickly. Students are firmly entrenched in the school year. Give me a short message for parents that they can take with them to help their children succeed.
Well, I think pay attention to children, talk with them in an adult language that helps to build their vocabulary. I think engage with them so that you understand when they're getting excited about having learned things, so that that is reinforced, because we know that the achievement gap can be closed and proficiency can be achieved, but it's going to take the team. That's why we want parents involved. Our schools need to be engaged, and we hope that we are putting the right policy framework in place to achieve it as well.
All right, Senator, as always, thanks for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.